Section 11.4, volume of prisms and cylinders. So the volume of a prism is the product of the area of the base and the height of the prism. So in our first example here, we've got a rectangular prism, and we're going to use this bottom portion here as our base. So we've got to find the area of that rectangular piece. So the area of the base would just be 3 times 13, where the height of the prism itself would be 5. So the base area in this case is 39 centimeters squared. And then to find the volume here, we're going to take the 39 times 5, which is the height, and we're going to get that the area or the volume of this particular rectangular prism is 195 centimeters cubed. Volume is cubed units, where area was squared units. All right, question 2, we have a triangular prism. So we're going to use this base here as our base for our particular three-dimensional solid. So we're going to find the area of the base. In this case, it's a triangle. So 1/2, 10 times 6, which gives us an area of a base equal to 30. So the volume in this case, where 5 is the height now, is 30 times 5, which gives us a volume of 150 meters cubed. Question 3, we've got a triangular prism again, but this time to find the area of the base, we actually have to find the height of the actual triangle, and to do so, this happens to be an equilateral triangle, so this piece would be 4, this would be 4. We're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to find that length there. And when we do so, we get that the height in this case of that particular triangle base piece is 6.93. So with that, we can now find the area of the base. So it's going to be 1/2 6.93 times 8. So the area of our base is right around 27.72. And then to find the volume, we just take the base, which is 27.72, times the height of the actual prism, which would be the length between the two bases, which would be, in this case, 10. And when we multiply this out, we get 277.72 inches cubed. Something to keep in mind, your bases are generally your unique shapes. So for a triangular prism, your base has to be the triangle. And then the height is the distance between the two bases. So when we found this height here, this was actually just the height within the base, not the height of the actual prism. All right, question 4. We'll use what we learned with regular polygons here, because this is a regular hexagon. And the first thing we have to do is figure out the area of the base. But to do that, we would have to find the apothem. And so the apothem, if we draw it here, remember we would use trig in this case. We broke it apart. And so in this case, our apothem, we use finding the tangent of 30 over 1 equals 4.5 over x. And then we get that apothem length there is actually going to be equal to, 7.8. So our apothem is 7.8. So the area of the base in this case is 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter, which in this case is 54, because there's 6 sides. Each side in this case is 9 feet. And then we use the base area, which we get to be 210.6. We use that with the height of the actual prism, which in this case the height is 12, to find the volume. So 210 is the base, 210.6 times 12, which is the height. Then we multiply that out, and we get that the volume of this particular prism is 2,527.2 feet cubed. In the next examples, we're going to talk about the volume of cylinders. So in this case, the volume of a cylinder is the product of the area of the base, once again, and the height of the cylinder. This time, however, the bases are all going to be circles because they're cylinders. So remember the area formula for a circle, pi r squared. So question 1, we're looking for the area of the base, which in this case, they give us a diameter, so we want a radius. Radius is 9, so our area of our base would be pi times the radius squared, which in this case gives us 81 pi. Then we take that and we multiply by the height of the actual cylinder. So volume equals 81 pi times 14, which in this case, when we multiply it all out, we're going to get 1,134 pi inches cubed. And you can multiply this out farther if you want. I'm going to leave my answer in terms of pi. Question 2, they give us a radius this time, so finding the base is pretty quick. So the base area when it's a circle is pi times your radius squared. So pi times 24 squared in this case gives us a base area of 576 pi. Then we have our height, which is 33. So the volume in this case is 576 pi times 33, which gives us a volume equal to 19,008 pi inches cubed. The next problem, same idea. We've got a diameter here of 2, so the radius in this case would be 1 meter. So finding our base area is just pi times 1 squared, which is just pi. Then finding our volume, we take our base area, which in this case is just 1 pi, times the height of the actual cylinder, which is 3. And so our volume in this case is 3 pi meters cubed. Here we're looking at finding the volume of composite figures. So what we do here is we find the volume of each individual prism or cylinder, and we add them together. So for the first one, we're going to look at for the area or the volume of the top triangular prism. So to do so, we have to recognize that we are once again looking at finding the area of the base here, but in this case we need the height, which in this case, once again, you could use the Pythagorean theorem to find, but we've actually found the height in these notes already of a equilateral triangle, all sides measuring 8. In this case, we know it to be 6.93. So that height 6.93. So in this case, our base area for the triangle, we should be able to find pretty easily. So the base area of the triangle, 1/2 6.93 times the base of the triangle itself, which is 8. So your base area in this case, going to be 27.72. So we've got the volume of the triangular prism then becomes the base, which is 27.72, times the height, which in this case, the distance between the two bases is just 4 centimeters. So the volume of the top figure is 110.88. So that part's taken care of. Now we find the volume of the bottom rectangular prism. So in this case, we can take base area, which in this case the base area is just 8 times 4, and then multiply that by the height of the prism, which is 5 in this case for the rectangular prism. So 8 times 4 gives us 32. 32 times 5 gives us a volume for that bottom figure equal to 160. And then our last step is to find the total volume by adding them together. So our total volume here is going to be 270.88 centimeters cubed. Question 2 is done very similarly. What you have to recognize, though, however, is this is only half of a cylinder. And so your base here is this semicircle.